Cyclone Tracy is one of the most devastating natural disasters in Australian history, primarily due to its impact on Darwin, Northern Territory, on Christmas Eve, 1974. The cyclone not only drastically altered the landscape and architecture of Darwin but also significantly changed how Australia approached disaster preparedness and response. The story of Cyclone Tracy began in the days leading up to Christmas when the cyclone formed in the Arafura Sea on December 20, 1974. Initially, it did not pose an immediate threat to densely populated areas and was expected to pass well clear of Darwin. However, Tracy unexpectedly changed course, heading directly towards the city. On the night of December 24, as residents were preparing for Christmas celebrations, Cyclone Tracy intensified and bore down on Darwin with ferocious power. By the early hours of December 25, the cyclone had enveloped the city with wind speeds reaching up to 240 km per hour, 150 miles per hour, accompanied by torrential rain. The impact was catastrophic. Cyclone Tracy devastated Darwin, destroying over 70% of its buildings, including 80% of the houses. The small, tightly knit community was plunged into chaos. The cyclone caused significant loss of life, with 71 people killed, including 49 on land and 22 at sea. The infrastructure damage was extensive, with power lines, communications, and essential services knocked out, effectively isolating the city. As dawn broke on Christmas Day, the scale of the destruction became apparent. Thousands of people were homeless, many injured, and the city was in ruins. The response was a massive logistical challenge. The Australian government launched a significant disaster response operation. Given the extent of the damage and the risk of disease spreading through the debris and lack of sanitation, a large-scale evacuation was ordered. Over the following weeks, more than 30,000 people, out of a pre-cyclone population of 46,000, were airlifted or transported by sea to other parts of Australia in an operation dubbed Operation Navy Help Darwin. The rebuilding of Darwin was a monumental task that took several years and involved stringent new building codes designed to withstand future cyclones. This tragedy led to a complete overhaul of how cyclones were managed and prepared for in Australia, including improvements in building standards, cyclone tracking systems, and emergency management protocols. Today, Cyclone Tracy is remembered not only for its destruction but also for the remarkable resilience of the Darwin community and the lessons learned in disaster management. The city was rebuilt with these lessons in mind, transforming it into a model of modern and cyclone-resistant urban development. The impact of Cyclone Tracy continues to influence how cyclones are handled not just in Australia but globally, serving as a reminder of the power of nature and the importance of preparedness.
Christmas timing. Cyclone Tracy struck on Christmas Eve and early Christmas morning, a time typically associated with celebrations and family gatherings. The unusual timing added a poignant layer of tragedy to the disaster, as festivities turned into a fight for survival. Sudden change of course. Initially, Cyclone Tracy was not expected to hit Darwin directly. The cyclone's sudden and unexpected change in course towards the city caught residents and authorities off guard, exacerbating the impact and reducing the time available for adequate preparations. Massive evacuation. The evacuation of over 30,000 people, nearly two-thirds of Darwin's population, in the aftermath of the cyclone was unprecedented in scale at the time in Australia. This operation was not only a logistical challenge but also a significant social upheaval, as many evacuees never returned to Darwin. Extensive rebuilding under new regulations. The rebuilding of Darwin involved the implementation of new building codes designed specifically to withstand future cyclones. This extensive urban reconstruction under such stringent new standards was unique at the time and transformed Darwin into a showcase of modern and resilient urban planning. Governmental response and media restrictions. The Australian government's response included strict control over media coverage. Initial reports and the actual scale of destruction were downplayed to avoid causing panic and to maintain national morale during a time of crisis. Psychological impact. The cyclone left a lasting psychological impact on survivors, many of whom suffered from PTSD. The disaster's occurrence during a festive period compounded these emotional and psychological challenges.